Welcome to Austria, a land where imperial grandeur meets alpine beauty. Tucked in the heart of Europe, Austria is a country of contrasts. Waltz-filled palaces in Vienna, quiet lakeside villages in Hallstatt, and snow-dusted peaks that inspired the sound of music. This week-long journey will take you from Vienna's royal boulevards to the Wachau Valley's vineyards, through Salzburg's musical streets, the alpine lakes of Hallstatt, and finally to Innsbruck's mountain trails and Graz's hidden gems.
7 days of culture, nature and comfort, all linked by trains that glide through postcard-perfect landscapes. Let's begin our journey in the capital, where art, coffee and history intertwine, Vienna.
Few cities capture elegance quite like Vienna. Once the seat of the Habsburg Empire, it's a place where every street feels like an open-air museum. Start your morning at Schönbrunn Palace, the former summer residence of the imperial family. Its 1,400 opulent rooms and sweeping gardens rival Versailles, a masterpiece of baroque architecture and royal ambition. Inside, the Hall of Mirrors glows with gold leaf and crystal chandeliers, once echoing with the music of a young Mozart who performed here at age 6. Step outside to the Gloriette Pavilion, where panoramic views of Vienna stretch beyond the manicured lawns. From Schönbrunn, take the U-Bahn to the Ringstrasse, Vienna's grand circular boulevard, built over the city's medieval walls. Here, you'll find the State Opera House, the Austrian Parliament, and the Museum of Fine Arts, which houses works by Raphael, Caravaggio, and Titian. By midday, stroll through the Naschmarkt, Vienna's famous open-air market, where aromas of coffee, spices and fresh pastries drift through the air. This is the perfect spot for lunch.
If you've worked up an appetite, try Wiener Schnitzel, Austria's signature dish of golden breaded veal or pork, served with a squeeze of lemon. Pair it with Erdäpfelsalat, a traditional potato salad. For dessert, you can't leave Vienna without a slice of Sachertorte, rich chocolate cake layered with apricot jam. Expect to spend around €20 to €30 for a full Viennese lunch.
In the afternoon, explore St. Stephen's Cathedral, a Gothic masterpiece that dominates Vienna's skyline. Climb its 343 steps to the South Tower for sweeping views of the city's red rooftops and the distant hills beyond. If time allows, wander through Café Central, one of Vienna's historic coffeehouses, once frequented by Freud and Trotsky. Here, time seems to slow. Order a melange, Vienna's version of a cappuccino, and watch the world drift by beneath marble columns and soft piano music.
Vienna's coffeehouse culture is so integral to daily life that UNESCO listed it as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Locals often say, a coffeehouse is where time stands still but the world moves on.
As evening falls, head to the Vienna State Opera, one of the finest in the world. Even if you don't attend a performance, guided tours offer a glimpse behind the velvet curtain. Later, dine in the Innere Stadt, the city's historic core, where candlelit restaurants spill onto cobblestone streets.
Book your opera tickets or guided tours online at least a week in advance. Popular performances often sell out quickly, and if you're traveling by metro, a 24-hour Vienna travel card costs around €8, covering unlimited rides on trams, buses and subways. Boutique hotels in Vienna's Old Town range between €130 and €220 per night, depending on the season. For something more affordable, guest houses near Karlsplatz or Leopoldstadt offer great value around €90 to €120, all within walking distance of major attractions.
Vienna is where past and present meet in perfect rhythm, a city of music, art, and quiet sophistication. Tomorrow we'll leave the capital's grandeur behind and journey along the Danube River, to vineyards, abbeys, and fairy tale villages that define Austria's heartland. Just an hour west of Vienna lies the Wachau Valley, one of Austria's most picturesque regions, a stretch of the Danube where time seems to stand still. Recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, this valley is famed for its medieval castles, wine terraces, and sleepy riverside towns that have remained unchanged for centuries. You can reach the Wachau by train to Melk, then continue along the river by boat or bicycle. The Danube's currents carry you past charming villages like Spitz, Weissenkirchen and Dürnstein, each with its own story etched into the hills. Your first stop is Melk Abbey, perched dramatically above the river. This Benedictine monastery, dating back to the 11th century, is one of Europe's great Baroque masterpieces. Inside, marble halls and frescoed ceilings tell tales of devotion, power, and learning. The library alone, filled with over 100,000 manuscripts, feels like stepping into another era. From Melk, follow the Danube River cruise, a scenic 2-hour journey to Dürnstein, the very heart of the Wachau. Along the way, castle ruins cling to cliff tops, and vineyards blanket the hills in shades of green and gold.
Legend has it that Richard the Lionheart, King of England, was imprisoned in Dürnstein Castle in 1192 while returning from the Crusades. He was later freed only after his loyal minstrel located him by singing a secret song beneath the castle walls.
Once in Dürnstein, wander its cobblestone streets lined with pastel baroque houses and wine taverns. The village is small, but every corner feels timeless, especially when the church bells echo across the valley. Climb the short trail to the ruins of Dürnstein Castle for a panoramic view of the Danube, winding between vineyards and terracotta rooftops. The climb takes about 20 minutes, and the view at the top is worth every step.
If you've worked up an appetite after your hike, stop by a Huriger, a traditional Austrian wine tavern. Try a glass of Gruner Veltliner or Riesling, both local specialties, paired with Bretteljaus, a rustic platter of cured meats, cheeses, pickles, and freshly baked bread. Lunch in the Wachau usually costs around €20 to €25, including wine.
In the afternoon, continue your journey to Krems an der Donau, one of the oldest towns in Lower Austria. Its medieval core is filled with narrow lanes, art galleries, and cozy cafes. Visit the Kunstmeile, an art mile connecting two museums, the Kunsthalle Krems for contemporary exhibitions, and the Karikatur Museum for whimsical political cartoons.
If you're visiting between April and October, river cruises run daily and connect Melk, Dürnstein, and Krems. You can buy a combined train and boat ticket for about €45, which includes unlimited stops along the Danube for one day.
By evening, settle into a local guest house overlooking the vineyards. The air smells faintly of grapes and wood smoke, and the river glows with the last light of day.
Family run-ins and vineyard lodges in the Wachau Valley offer double rooms from €80 to €130 per night, often with breakfast and complimentary wine tasting included. For a luxury experience, try the Hotel Schloss Dürnstein, a historic castle turned 5-star stay with sweeping Danube views.
The Wachau Valley feels like a painting brought to life, where history, nature, and wine share the same horizon. Tomorrow we head west to the musical city of Salzburg, where Mozart's melodies still echo through Baroque streets and mountain air. Few cities blend art and landscape as gracefully as Salzburg. Nestled at the foot of the northern Alps, it's a city of Baroque spires, mountain breezes, and melodies that drift through its narrow lanes. Known as the birthplace of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart and the filming location for The Sound of Music, Salzburg carries an atmosphere that's equal parts elegant and whimsical. Begin your morning in Salzburg's Old Town, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The cobbled Getreidegasse is the city's most famous street, lined with wrought iron signs, pastel facades, and boutiques that feel frozen in time. Stop by Mozart's birthplace, now a museum filled with original instruments and family artifacts. From there, stroll to the Residenzplatz, the city's grand central square. Here, Baroque fountains glimmer beneath the watchful towers of the Salzburg Cathedral, where Mozart himself once played the organ.
Every year, Salzburg hosts the world-famous Salzburg Festival, a celebration of classical music and opera that draws performers and audiences from across the globe. It was founded in 1920, and even today its open-air performances fill the city's streets with sound.
By midday, take the funicular up to the Hohensalzburg Fortress, one of Europe's best-preserved medieval castles. Standing high above the city, it offers panoramic views across the rooftops and rolling hills of Bavaria. Inside, explore the royal chambers and the Marionette Museum, a charming nod to Austria's theatrical tradition.
If you've worked up an appetite, stop by a traditional Stiegelkeller beer garden below the fortress. Try Kasnochen, cheesy alpine dumplings baked until golden, or a hearty Wiener Backendel, crispy fried chicken served with lemon and potato salad. Pair it with a cold Stiegel beer brewed right here in Salzburg. Expect to pay around €18 to €25 for a full meal.
In the afternoon, cross the Markartsteg Bridge, famous for its lovelocks, and head toward Mirabell Gardens. Here, flowers bloom in perfect symmetry, framing one of the city's most iconic sights, the Pegasus Fountain, and the view of the fortress in the distance. Fans of the sound of music will instantly recognize this as one of the film's most joyful scenes. If you're up for something different, visit Mozartplatz, where street musicians fill the air with violins and flutes. It's the perfect spot to simply pause and soak up Salzburg's rhythm.
Purchase the Salzburg card for around €30 per day. It gives you free entry to major attractions like the fortress, cathedral, and museums, plus unlimited rides on local transport. A real money saver if you plan to explore widely. As night falls, Salzburg glows like a fairy tale. Lanterns reflect off the river, violins echo from street corners, and the scent of baked strudel drifts through the air. Stay in the historic old town for charm and convenience. Boutique hotels like Hotel Elefant or Altstadt Hotel Kaserebräu average around €130 to €180 per night. For a cozy alpine experience, lodges on the city's outskirts start around €90 and offer breathtaking mountain views.
Salzburg is a city that sings, not only through its music, but through its beauty, history, and serenity. Tomorrow we'll travel deeper into the Alps, to a village that looks like it was painted by hand, the world-famous Hallstatt. Welcome to Hallstatt, the village so beautiful it inspired copies around the world, including a full-scale replica in China. Tucked between a shimmering lake and towering limestone cliffs, Hallstatt is Austria's most photographed destination, a place where time slows, and every view feels like a painting. Arrive early, before the day trippers from Salzburg and Vienna. The village is small. You can walk its length in about 15 minutes. But every corner reveals something magical. Swans gliding across the lake, flowers spilling from balconies, and the sound of bells echoing through the valley. Start your morning by exploring the old market square, where pastel houses surround a stone fountain dating back to the 16th century. Then, follow the cobbled lanes to the Hallstatt Museum, which traces the village's 7,000-year history of salt mining, the very trade that built this settlement and gave it global fame. Next, take the funicular up to the Hallstatt Skywalk, a dramatic viewing platform that juts out over the valley like the bow of a ship. Below, the lake stretches endlessly, framed by peaks that seem to touch the clouds. For those craving adventure, the Salzwelten salt mines, among the oldest in the world, offer guided tours through underground tunnels once carved by Celtic miners over 3,000 years ago.
Hallstatt salt mines are so ancient that they gave their name to an entire era of European prehistory, the Hallstatt culture, dating back to around 800 BC.
By midday, descend back into the village for a lakeside lunch. Wooden decks line the waterfront, and the air smells of pine and freshly baked bread.
If you've worked up an appetite, order freshly caught Rhinanke, a local whitefish grilled and served with lemon butter. Or try Kaspressnudel, cheesy bread dumplings in rich beef broth. For dessert, don't miss Topfenstrudel, Austria's creamy curd cheese pastry. Lunch beside the lake will cost around €25 to €30, including a drink.
In the afternoon, take a gentle boat ride across Hallstatt Sea. The water is so clear that you can see the pebbled lake bed beneath, and on calm days, the reflections of the mountains are flawless. Alternatively, follow the walking path along the lake's edge. It's a peaceful 1-hour loop surrounded by wildflowers, with benches placed perfectly for quiet reflection. As the sun sets, the entire village turns gold. The sound of church bells drifts over the water, and the lights from the chalets shimmer like stars.
Hallstatt is beautiful but small, so if you plan to stay overnight, book accommodation well in advance. The village limits the number of visitors per night to protect its fragile ecosystem and peaceful character. Guest houses overlooking the lake start around €120 to €160 per night, while boutique hotels like Heritage Hotel Hallstatt offer balconies with direct lake views for €200 to €250. For budget travelers, staying in nearby Obertraun is an excellent alternative, just a short ferry ride away.
Hallstatt isn't just a destination. It's a feeling. Quiet, timeless, and impossibly beautiful. Tomorrow we head west into the heart of the Alps, where cable cars climb higher, glaciers glisten brighter, and mountain life takes center stage in Innsbruck. Welcome to Innsbruck, the jewel of the Tyrolean Alps, where imperial elegance meets alpine adventure. Here, ornate baroque architecture stands shoulder to shoulder with rugged mountains, and it's possible to ski in the morning and sip coffee in a medieval square by afternoon. Begin your day in the Old Town, a maze of pastel facades and stone arcades dating back to the 15th century. At its heart glitters the Golden Roof, Innsbruck's most famous landmark. Built for Emperor Maximilian I, its 2,657 gilded copper tiles once dazzled nobles during tournaments and royal parades.
The Golden Roof was completed in 1500 to mark the emperor's marriage, making it quite literally the most expensive wedding balcony in Europe.
Stroll down Maria Theresienstrasse, Innsbruck's main boulevard, lined with boutiques, cafes, and the Grand Triumphal Arch at its southern end. Behind the buildings, the mountains always steal the scene, a reminder that nature and city life coexist here in perfect harmony. By midday, take the Hungerberg funicular, a modern marvel designed by architect Zaha Hadid. In just 20 minutes it whisks you from the city center to alpine meadows 2,200 meters above sea level. From there you can hike, paraglide, or simply breathe in crisp mountain air.
If you've worked up an appetite, stop at a cozy mountain hut for Tiroler Grüstel, crispy fried potatoes with bacon, onions, and a fried egg. Or Kaiserschmarrn, fluffy shredded pancakes dusted with sugar and served with plum compote. Expect to spend around €18 to €22, including a warm drink or beer.
Back in town, visit the Hofburg Palace, once home to Empress Maria Theresa. Its rococo halls and mirrored ballrooms rival Vienna's, but with the Alps framed perfectly in every window. Across the street stands the court church, housing the ornate tomb of Emperor Maximilian I, surrounded by 28 larger-than-life bronze statues of knights, saints, and kings, each with astonishing detail.
If you're visiting in winter, Innsbruck transforms into a festive wonderland with Christmas markets filling every square. Try the mulled wine known as Glühwein and roasted chestnuts. The scent alone is worth the trip.
As evening falls, cross the Innsbrucker Bridge for a postcard view of the colourful riverside houses with the Nordkette glowing pink behind them. One of Europe's most photographed skylines.
Stay in a traditional Tyrolean-style guesthouse like Hotel Innsbruck or Stage 12 Hotel, where rooms range from €140 to €200 per night. For a mountain chalet feel, lodges in the Hungerberg district offer fireplaces and panoramic decks starting around €120.
Innsbruck captures the very essence of Austria, regal, romantic, and surrounded by raw alpine power. Tomorrow we'll travel east toward crystal lakes and rolling pastures, to the storybook region of Zell and Kaprun, where the mountains meet the water in perfect balance. If Austria had to be captured in a single image, shimmering lakes, mountain air, and endless alpine charm, it would be Zell am See. Tucked between the Hohe Tauern National Park and the Kitzsteinhorn Glacier, this region is nature at its purest, where glassy waters meet eternal snow. Begin your morning with a lakeside stroll or cycle along the Zeller Sea promenade. The air feels impossibly fresh, scented with pine and distant wood smoke. Locals gather at cafes for strong espresso and apple strudel, while paddleboarders glide silently across the calm blue surface. Take the Schmittenhöhe cable car for a 360-degree panorama of over 30 alpine peaks, from the Großglockner to the Duckstein Range. In summer, hiking trails wind through meadows of wildflowers. In winter, it's one of Austria's most scenic ski slopes.
The Schmittenhöhe was one of Austria's first alpine ski areas, opened over 90 years ago. Today, its modern lifts can transport more than 40,000 visitors a day. But somehow, it never feels crowded.
Just 20 minutes away lies Kaprun, a glacier village that's a paradise for outdoor enthusiasts. Here, the Kitzsteinhorn Glacier allows skiing and snowboarding nearly year-round, a surreal experience when the valley below is blooming in summer green. Take the lift all the way to the top of Salzburg, perched at 3,029 meters. Step onto the viewing platform, where the air is thin and silent, and the entire world seems to unfold beneath you. Glaciers, valleys, and endless peaks stretching toward the horizon.
If you've worked up an appetite, stop at a mountaintop restaurant like Gipfelwelt 3000. Try Kaiserschmarrn, caramelized pancake pieces with plum compote, or a steaming bowl of Kassnochen. Meals cost around €20 to €25, and the view alone is worth twice that.
Back in Zell am See, spend your afternoon exploring the lake by boat. Small electric ferries circle the water, stopping at quiet coves where you can swim or simply drift beneath the mountains. For something more adventurous, rent a kayak or go paragliding from Schmittenhöhe, soaring over the lake like a bird.
Pick up a Zell am See Kaprun summer card for around €40. It gives you free rides on cable cars, boats and buses, plus discounts on local attractions.
As evening falls, the lake transforms again. The water turns gold, church bells echo through the valley, and the scent of wood-fired pizza and alpine herbs drifts from lakeside terraces.
Lakeside hotels like Grand Hotel Zell am See combine old-world elegance with views straight from a postcard. Expect to pay €180 to €250 per night. Cozy chalets or guest houses nearby start at around €100, often including breakfast and sauna access.
Zell am See and Kaprun capture Austria's balance, serene yet thrilling, polished yet wild. Tomorrow we journey south to Graz, the country's culinary capital and a city that blends modern design with medieval soul. Your final stop takes you south to Graz, Austria's second-largest city, and one of Europe's most underrated gems. While Vienna may have the grandeur, Graz offers something different. A relaxed rhythm, Mediterranean flair, and a culinary scene that's quietly world-class. Start your morning in the Old Town, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The architecture here blends Renaissance, Gothic and Baroque, giving every street a layered storybook feel. Wander through the Hauptplatz, the city's central square, where colorful facades meet ornate fountains. Locals sip espresso under umbrellas as trams glide by, and the air buzzes with easy charm. Climb or take the funicular up the Schlossberg Hill for panoramic views over the city. The iconic clock tower, with its oversized hands and rustic wood frame, is Graz's most beloved symbol, and a perfect backdrop for photos.
The clock tower's hands are reversed. The big one shows hours and the small one shows minutes. Locals say it's because time moves slower in Graz.
Back in the city, explore the Murinsel, a futuristic floating island in the middle of the river. It's a glass and steel structure shaped like a seashell, housing a cafe and an open-air amphitheater, a symbol of how Graz blends history with modern art. Next, visit the Kunsthaus Graz, nicknamed the Friendly Alien. Its biomorphic blue exterior contrasts beautifully with the old town's terracotta roofs, a perfect representation of Graz's creative energy.
If you've worked up an appetite, you're in the right place. Graz is known as Austria's capital of delight. Start with Backhendel, crispy Styrian fried chicken, or Käferbohnensalat, a hearty salad made with local scarlet runner beans. And for dessert, order Steirischer Apfelstrudel, made with apples from the surrounding orchards. Expect to spend around €20 to €25 for a delicious lunch at a traditional Gasthaus.
In the afternoon, stroll through the Lend district, where street art meets artisan shops and indie cafes. Pop into the farmers' market at Kaiser Joseph Platz, one of Austria's oldest, overflowing with fresh produce, pumpkin seed oil, and handmade cheeses from nearby farms.
Don't leave Graz without trying Styrian pumpkin seed oil, the region's most famous export. Locals drizzle it over everything from salads to vanilla ice cream. Pick up a small bottle from the market as a souvenir. It's liquid gold.
Before sunset, head to the Eggenberg Palace, a baroque masterpiece with peacocks roaming its gardens. Its grand halls and astronomical ceiling make it one of the most elegant royal residences in Austria.
Stay at Hotel Wiesler or Iola Living, both in the heart of the city, with rooms starting around €130 to €180 per night. For a cozier stay, boutique guest houses in the Lend district offer a creative vibe from €90.
As night falls, the city glows softly under lantern light. Music drifts from wine bars, and the river reflects 1,000 tiny ripples of gold. Graz may be Austria's second city, but to many travelers, it feels like a hidden first. In one unforgettable week, you've crossed Austria from east to west, from the imperial halls of Vienna to the lakes of Zell am See, and from the music of Salzburg to the peaceful streets of Graz. It's a country that balances grandeur with grace, where art, nature, and warmth come together effortlessly.
If this guide helped shape your next adventure, let us know in the comments below. Which Austrian moment stole your heart? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more cinematic travel journeys around the world. This is Traveler's Treasure Globe, exploring the planet one week, one country at a time.